Welcome. First off, welcome here. Welcome to the studio, and welcome to the fourth episode of Who Are You Again? So it's a podcast, a conversation where we get down to who are you? And if you're a reoccurring guest, I'm going to keep asking you, who are you again? Because you're going to keep developing. I'm going to develop. The show's going to develop. And we're going to kind of go from there. So, first and foremost, I want to introduce you. I want to give a sway in the morning type of introduction, coming from South Bend, Indiana, my friend, this isn't just a guest. This is my personal friend, one of my best friends, somebody that I look up to, look for accountability, look for inspiration. It's like, oh man, Brandon read 2 books. Oh, I think I need to read 2 more books. Brandon's doing this with his business. Brandon's doing this with his family. I need to be, making sure. So definitely a checks and balance person for me. And we talk a lot of like deep stuff, but we have fun. At the same time, like we're actually friends. Entrepreneur, father, family man. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Man, appreciate that. That's one heck of a intro. Yeah. I really do.
I got to get my
yeah, we need to get the buttons. That. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Buttons, bro. It's coming. Episode 4, man. Baby steps.
Step
we
by
didn't have
step.
a table last week. We didn't even have a table, man. So baby steps, man. But how are you, bro?
Man, I am super, super great.
Okay.
Super great right
now. Awesome. Yeah. Cool.
How you doing?
Man, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I feel good. I think doing this show and having the ability to have like a permanent setup, I'm just comfortable, man. I don't have the studio manager like, oh, yo, come on, man, wrap it up. I can just get comfortable, man. So, shout out to Bryce for this idea of building out a studio. But yeah, man, I feel good, man. Yeah. I feel good today. Feel comfortable, feel healthy. My mama's straight, my daddy's straight. My lady's straight. I'm good, bro.
That's it.
I'm good, man. So cool, man. So I'm going to ask this question once in the beginning, and then I'm going to ask it again. Who are you? And that's a complicated question. It's a deep question, so you can answer that however you like.
Yeah. Well, I look at life at laps, if you ever ran on a track, been on a track, and depending on what lap you're on is going to depend on where you are with your mentality,
right?
How you physically feel, what your thoughts are. Right now, I would say that I am on the second leg, the second lap, I would say. And in this part of my life, I'm in deep thought.
Okay.
I'm in deep thought of where I've been, where I'm at, where I'm going, the decisions I made, the decisions I didn't make.
Yeah.
How I'm impacting people around me, how I am not impacting people around me. What is, who am I, truly who am I?
Yeah.
And I think that who I am is where I'm at. And where I'm at, I've come to realize is that I am still in the phase and working through this phase of boy man.
Okay. So a couple things. Who you are and who you are really, I think is super important, what you just touched on. And I think, who am I? I'm a plumber. I'm a this, I'm a that. But you're not just that to a lot of people. When you come home, if you got 3 kids, you ain't no plumber. Right. You dad, you husband. And the last thing you said, which I think is the most important, is that status of boy man. I often, when people generalize, men are this, adult males are that. We got to separate boys and men. So if you can just take a second to kind of define in your thoughts, the difference between boy and man and what that intersection is of where you are at boy man.
Well, one thing about when you are a boy, you reason. It's a in Proverbs, it says when you as a child, I thought as a child, I acted as a child, I reasoned as a child. But, as an adult, I think as a man. You reason as a man, you respond as a man, and that's a very distinct difference.
Yeah.
And your ego would tell you that, oh, you're 18.
Yeah.
You're a man. You're 21. You're a man. You're 25. You're a man.
Right.
That's what your ego say. So now your ego is negotiating for you, but your ego is negotiating and putting you in bad deals. You get what I mean? Like,
come with me. We should do this.
You know what I mean?
No, we shouldn't.
No, that's you.
Let's take this substance. Let's lay with this woman. Let's,
You're threatened.
Yeah.
And so, when you are a boy, that's how you would respond. You're void of responsibility of self. You're void of responsibility of your community.
Right.
There's no level of accountability, self accountability. You are you don't have the level of discipline, right, that you need to really take it to the next level. You, as a boy, you are emotionally all over the place.
Yeah.
Even though you act like you got it all together, but you don't really have it all together.
Right.
Boy is when you are having the conversation with someone that okay, that's not a battle I should be fighting. Knowing when to pick your battles. Yeah. Right. And knowing who you should, as you mentioned, who you should lay down with. Knowing who you should show up as. Okay. Understanding that as when you're a boy, you're looking for the world to make the sacrifices for you. Yeah. You're looking for the world to go for bat for you. You have no sense of like, hey, you know what? I need to. If I act this way, there's going to be repercussions for my behavior. Right. As a boy, that's not how you thinking. Yeah. As a man, you understand, hey, if I respond this way, there is repercussions, not only for me, but my community, everybody my family, everyone around me. I have to be the one when everybody's sleep. Yeah. I'm the one outside protecting the fort. Yeah. I'm building the wall when, as a boy, you're not creating boundaries for yourself and others. Right. As a man, you're creating boundaries for yourself and for your others, for others. And I had a friend, Jay, was like, you met Jay? Jason. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so for my birthday. So Jason was saying, he was like, yeah, he had a boundary. And he's like, yeah, I know that sounds harsh. Yeah. Right. And I'm like, listen, if you got a castle, and your castle was soft as bread, you're done for it because you have nothing. Your walls are not strong enough to protect and keep the things outside that's trying to invade all the precious things that are inside. Correct. So now you're outside making sure that everyone who's inside, they could be on slobbering, comfortable. One leg over on the couch, one leg off the chair. They just relax. Like they have no care in the world, right? When you're a man, you on it's 10 hut. Yeah. So you're having to embrace the discomfort and pain and all the things that as a boy you don't want pain. Yeah. You're trying to figure out a way to get away from the pain.
Whatever's comfortable. You want to be comfortable. Most comfortable as possible.
As possible. As a man, you embrace it. You know that's coming. You know that's what this is all about. In fact, it's a badge of honor that you have that you have that you have the ability to have that experience, right? It's like back in the day when the Romans and ancient times when men they felt proud to go to war. Yeah. And the women and children stayed home. Yeah. Like they would hold the mantle of manhood with a sense of just honor. Yeah. And I think that's part of being a man is that you're able to hold that mantle of manhood, and you're able to graduate, and you have a level of you have a very high astute for character. You have a discernment. I think that a man is for me personally is following God, Jesus Christ. I think you have to have a sense of purpose. those are the things that courage, all those particular things, I think really, really for me, is the difference and sets the tone between what a boy is and what a man is.
Absolutely. So we define manhood in childhood, and I would like to, go back to your childhood again, to figure out who you are. We got to figure out where you came from. And, again, like I was saying earlier, I'm a big fan of origin stories, really understanding who the person is, where you came from, your upbringings, your surroundings, that, I don't know the percentage of who that makes you, but I'm pretty sure it's got a lot to do with who I'm talking to right now. So, tell me about where you're from. Walk me down. And again, we don't got to spend too much time there, but just tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I'll pin drop my location, or at least my birth location. South Bend, Indiana, born, raised. And I had a quite interesting life because I always I had to develop into a chameleon, and I think that had served its purpose in my life. Yeah, because on one side of the fence, my mom, that side of the family lived in the hood, chaos, disorder. On the other side of the fence, my grandmother, my dad's mother, took me in and raised me at the precious times of my life where there was order, there was discipline, there was love, there was care, it was peace.
Got you. So why aren't you a rapper? It sounds like a perfect rapper origin story.
Oh wow! Well, at one point I did want to be a rapper, but that's a whole. But
did we all?
Listen, I wanted to be a police officer too. I wanted to be a fireman. You know what I mean? I wanted to be a plumber. It was a lot of things I wanted to be when I was young.
So with those two sides, I know you said your grandmother was order. And that was your father's mother. Yeah. What was your father in this particular situation, or at this particular time when you were going back and forth? And what was that frequency of going back and forth?
Have you ever woke up and you kind of delirious and you thought you saw somebody there and that person may have been there, but that person may have not been there, but it's really faint? I'm trying to describe it. That's my dad. My dad was
I got it. Those memories happen a lot when you were a kid. Yeah. To where you take a couch nap. You wake up and it's like, I think I heard them talking in the living room, but there was nobody there. When I fully got through, there was nobody there.
I just saw silhouettes.
Okay, got you. Okay.
I had a silhouette
that was a perfect, I got it. And I think all the people on the interwebs understand that as well.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So cool. So Pops was, he was doing his thing.
Yeah. And listen, my dad was going through his own battles, and this is what I've learned as I've lived a little bit longer. Yeah. Is that, he was having his own fight. Yeah. It took me a while to understand that, but I do. And I don't blame him for those moments, because I think that my grandmother filled in the gap. My grandfather filled in the gap. Yeah. We had that community.
And no, I was going to say, as someone, I'm pushing 40. So anybody before us, it's very easy for our generation to judge that generation without empathizing of what that generation went through, what obstacles they had to dodge. I have to say this very clearly because I'm using an example, but I'm segueing from your pops. So this is not a direct connection, but I think about right now, I don't have to dodge crack cocaine. I don't have to dodge heroin. I know exactly what this is going to do and what it's not going to do. They didn't have the data of that. I didn't have to think about, I think about my dad and it's like, yo, you had to decide if you're going to enlist or get drafted into the military to go to Vietnam. Vietnam, bro?
That's wild.
My biggest battle is traffic. That's my biggest battle in life is traffic. He had to decide, do I want to volunteer or do I want to get taken? That's crazy. So I just give a lot of grace to guys who were born in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So back to the story.
Yeah, that's perspective, man. I don't think that people understand that. decisions and choices there's context.
Yeah.
And it's very true. If you haven't walked in a person, and if you haven't walked a mile in a person's shoe, then you should try to.
Yeah.
So you get perspective.
Yep.
And that, I think that, for my dad, I understand that his development was arrested. Yeah. He was a boy man as well too. And to your point, he didn't have the information.
Yeah.
And that I have, and so. But my mom was young, 18. Both my mom and my dad, they were young. They was babies.
Yeah.
They was babies too. So they was, they were babies making babies. And but grew up, and I got it. I was able to learn the world early. And what I mean by that, when I was like 7 years old, I'm catching the city bus across town by myself.
That's crazy.
Crazy, right? When I think about it, like, when you get on the bus and then you got to get it was a paper transfer sticker you had. And I was doing that. I would go to school, across town, come back. And this is like 7, 8 years old, easy in the snow,
And this isn't the subway in New York where that's more socially acceptable.
Right.
You on a city bus with adults.
I'm on a city bus. I'm waiting at the bus stop. You know what I mean?
And people going to work,
or wherever they, and I'm the youngest person on the bus. I'm the youngest person at the bus stop. I'm the youngest person, period. Because ain't no 7-year-old on a bus by themselves. Like, that's just wild. But I think what that did was that allowed me to understand and get experience of what the world is like,
right? And
also what it's like to be okay with uncertainty. And I think that really helped my exploration, my curiosity for life. And from that point on, man, I, got into basketball. Getting involved with basketball really helped because I had, it was something that initially started with, I wanted to be around my friends, and then it became a thing where I'm
this
like,
is my thing.
I'm like, wow, I'm over here like running suicides for just to be around my friends. Like,
it's a bit much. I thought we were gonna play horse. I
thought it was gonna be a little more fun. But that right there gave me a lot of discipline.
Okay.
That gave me a lot of taught me about life. Sports, it definitely helped with that. I had, my mentors that were in my life. So wherever the gaps were, they came in and filled the gaps. And yeah, man, I was just, I had this ambition that, man, I can't wait to get to New York, man. That's what I used to always think about. I can't wait to get to New York. And
you lived in New York for a period of time,
and I got to New York.
Okay.
So I did get to New York.
Okay, and I don't want to fast track your story, but so
no,
you
that's
can take,
fine. No,
you can take us to New York whenever you're ready.
Yeah. I had this. I had this ability to just envision something, and forever it always just came to fruition. Right. It just seemed like it always came to fruition, man.
And that's interesting because I notice a lot of people. Even if you just listen to the podcast or interviews, you always hear a similar story of, I saw it and I saw it, I thought it, and it became true. And I think there's a third component to that. I saw it, I thought it, I believed it, and then it became true. Yeah. And, I keep hearing these reoccurring stories, and I have to believe there's got to be some truth to that. I think that third part is such a huge component, the belief part. You have to be able to visualize yourself in that particular position. And, whatever you believe in, I believe will open that up for you. What are your thoughts on that? As you said, that this is kind of a reoccurring thing in your life.
Yeah, I think you have to see yourself somewhere. And you see yourself somewhere, you're gonna meet yourself there. Okay. And I think if you don't see yourself there, then you won't be there.
Yeah. It's too hard. It's just too hard. It's too difficult. You're not just gonna end up in New York. Yeah.
Right. So, I think that for me, went to school, graduated high school, went to college, did that, was able to, it's funny, I was thinking the other day, I was like, they have this whole thing with passport bros.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I was like already I was a passport bro before.
You're a passport child.
I was a passport child before it was a thing.
Okay. Explain. Okay. So explain, and we can get maybe into when we get to the manhood side a little bit more into passport bros. Yeah. But just for a little bit of context, I think it's super important that like that's crazy if you be a passport child.
That's wild.
That's wild. So tell me a little bit more about that before you sound like a crazy man on this podcast.
I was 19.
Yeah.
I had went over to Beijing.
Okay. You were a wild boy.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were gonna be like, I went to Atlanta, I went to Houston. Bro said I went to Beijing. Okay. So, I'm gonna let you continue.
So I just traveled around China for a little bit.
Okay.
And
like, I'm not gonna we're not gonna gloss over that. Yeah. How did you get to China? Like, what brought you to China? Typically, people need a job or they got like a decent like sack of money. Like, how did you get to China?
Yeah.
Like,
okay,
tell me that.
So, man, so I didn't have any money. I'm in college, of course. Okay. I just don't have any money. So I went to my school was able to negotiate something where hey, they had some money.
Mm-hmm. I saw it. I saw it. And I believed it. And I got that money.
And I got that money. That's exactly how it went, bro. Like literally, I was like, oh, you know what? This opportunity to go to China, because the thing about it, like we had a study abroad program.
Okay.
Right? This was wild, right? So we had a study abroad program. Right. But again, I was just like, man, I don't want to go over here to Harlexton, England. Like, because for me, I just felt like if I'm going to go study abroad with the people I go to school with,
I'm not trying to go to New York with funny accents. You know, like, I'm trying to go abroad.
And so, and then so I was just like,
no shot to the good people across the pond.
But, absolutely. Shout out to all
it's a different accent.
my Braxton brothers, bruvs. And so so I was just man, and the internet wasn't as powerful, but it is powerful, right? Because I'm on the internet, and I found out this program where you can come to China, and I was like, okay, I'm going to China. Now I need to get the money to go to China. Mm-hmm. Then that's how I was able to negotiate with my school, and they gave me some of that money.
I need that money. Yeah, I need that.
So I was like, and how I negotiated, just for anybody thinking like, okay, what did you do? I just said, hey, at the time, Newsweek, we had these magazines, these Newsweek magazines. They were coming like either every day or every week, I believe. And I was like, in China and India, that was like the talk of the town. And so I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go over there, do some research. I'm gonna come back and write a paper about it, right? And they were like, okay, cool. Yeah. I just need, we set it up the deal. So I need a stipend. I'm like, bro, I went in there just with just a whole little plan. It was wild. Yeah. And I got over there, bro. Yeah. And
it happens.
Hey, and I was just having myself a grand old time. Yeah. I almost didn't come back though.
Okay. What almost kept you, and what brought you back?
Oh man, puppy love, man.
Okay.
Bro, I told you I was a passport, bro.
Yeah. So you found, and I'm trying. There's a particular word that like come into my mind, but I can't use it based off of where you were, because it might be a little culturally unacceptable. Yeah. So I'll use thing instead of what I was going to say. Yeah. I think to kill the mystery, I was going to say you found a little ting, but I was just like, I don't know if that works going over to Asia. Yeah. But you found you a little lovely, and you were stuck.
Yeah, bro.
You were wide open,
bro. Super wide open.
Okay,
bro.
How old were you at this time?
Like it's about 19 years old. I was like 19, 20 years old, roughly around there.
Okay.
And I was I was just over, man, having a grand time.
Let me ask you this. Were you like, okay, I'm like, you said puppy love. Was it more puppy love, or was she showing you some things that you just that you ain't experienced before? Like give me that, because there's a difference.
Well, I think that I get what you're saying, but at the same time, absolutely. Yeah. She was showing me things. Not in that way. But yes, man, it was in my mind, I got Future that I need love and affection.
Yeah, that's how you were? Okay.
I like how I were, man.
Okay.
And it was just like, we were, just embrace me, and we was exploring, and we were just doing a lot of things, and just a really great person.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just a really great person. Unfortunately, I messed that situation up.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
So
you were the red flag.
Oh, I was super red flag.
Okay. So how did you mess that up, and was messing that up your passport back home?
Oh, man. Yeah, it was messing up my whole situation.
Yeah,
so
talk us through it, bro.
So
we want to live like a lot of people not going to Beijing.
So I was there studying. I was there interning. I got an internship when I was in Beijing. Also was going to school there as well, studying the language, things of that nature, and I was partying a whole lot. I mean that came with it. But yeah, we had developed a really good relationship, and I think that for me, I remember calling my mom, and I told her, I said, "Mom, I'm not coming home." She said, "What? You're not coming home?
What you mean?
Like, Mom, what you gonna do? I'm in China.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
You can't get here.
Can't get here." And so I was like so close. I remember us going, man. Going to that. This is how much we were just. Emotionally, it was just this energy around us. Crying, going to the airport, bro, was just boo-hooing, bro. It was like, man. And it was just like a movie where it was like, man, we want to think that I'm coming back.
Yeah, I'm not coming back.
But I'm not coming back.
You still follow on Instagram?
No, we don't have, this is before Instagram. Yeah, we're not even connected. And so what ended up happening was, again, this goes right back to the boy in me, right?
Yeah.
Because here I am, I'm in Beijing, me and this girl, we are super, super tight, everything, but I also had someone back in the States too, that wasn't a I didn't sever that relationship,
Okay.
And
right, so we getting a little bit more into the truth. We getting okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here I am.
I was like, why you can't come back? I can't come back. Yeah.
So
I damn near got a wife and kids back home.
Bro, here I am, and then not only that, but this is the thing, bro, I was really like so close and not coming back at all. Like, I was just like, yo, forget this. I'm out here in Beijing. We out here doing, whatever. But the point of it, like, she's on me. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This is no. But so I wasn't gonna come back. Wasn't gonna come back, and I did, of course. And it's funny because I've never told this particular story in public, but it also is just another example of my foolishness. Yeah. My manipulation, not me being honest. And that's, again, going back to my character,
right?
My level of integrity. I had very low integrity, low character. And what I did was, here I am playing both sides, one in one country, another one in another country. Okay. Crazy, right? And they both thinking, I got them thinking like
they're the one.
They're the only one. They are the one, right? So they end up finding out. This is when you had
AOL semester,
AOL,
or maybe ICQ.
It was AIM, or
AOL semester, and the ICQ was for international. So it might have been. So either way, bro, how you get caught up with low technology with people that live across the world? Being a boy.
There you go. I'm all over the place, and ego, and I'm the
man.
Yeah.
I'm in control of this.
I'm in control of all this.
Okay.
This ego's stupid.
Sure. Right.
And that was a really crazy time, man. Yeah. That was a crazy time doing that, because I really liked that girl. I really liked the girl. I really did. But reality set in. Got back to school, and over the course of time, you get further and further away from that situation. Yeah. Then you're able to think a little bit more clearly, because you're not emotional.
Yeah.
Then I was going to make an emotional decision not to come back. I wasn't thinking clear at all. Again, but end up, when I got to college. I'm gonna back up. When I got to college, initially when I got to college, I, one of the stipulations when I, for college was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to play ball. Mm-hmm. And of course, I have a scholarship, a scholarship to come here as well, but not for basketball, but an academic scholarship. But I was able to walk on. Mm. So we started this, we started the practices and the workouts and things of that nature. And that's when I found out that this is not something I don't want to play ball. Yeah. This is not, I don't see myself, if I don't see myself going to the NBA, like I'm not going to do all these particular things. I'm not going to do that. It's too much. Yeah. School and this, and I'm like, and I don't need to be here.
I was about to say, you're already in school for free.
Yeah. So I'm in school for free. And so, yeah, man, and I had a great time during those particular years, man. Graduated and then ended up in New York, man. Okay. At the what people know as the Breakfast Club now, but at the time it wasn't. It was just Power 105.
Okay, so you ended up in New York. Did you just apply? Did you have a plan before you went there? Or did you
okay.
Did you walk to New York? Tell me
man,
more.
This is when I got in debt. I got in debt. I had a credit card. I had no job. I had no source of income.
That's a great recipe for disaster.
I was like, hey, swipe
Magic
it, right?
money that you can't pay back.
Swipe it. APR, forget about it. Mm-hmm. And so I was in New York. I was sleeping on my friend's floor, and I just remember. I remember being we were in Harlem at the time, and I just remember just sitting there feeling like, man, what am I doing in my life? Like, what is this? I graduated. This is what this is all about. Yeah. Like, I just felt like I didn't have a purpose. Like. When I was in school, I had a purpose. I had a thing. I was getting somewhere. It's graduating. It's all these years and these steps that I'm taking to get to this particular moment. Like I knew there was an end to whatever, right? But when I got to New York, it was like, okay, what's next? What is it? What am I here to do? You get why am I here? Why am I here on Earth? Like what? Right. I just was going through that whole phase, and I just remember calling my auntie, trying to figure it out, because she was really successful. She is successful. She was successful and things of that nature. So I was just trying to get some clarity, because I was just like, man, I ain't supposed to be sitting here just sleeping on the couch, But that's what it was, man.
So you said you went to New York. Mm-hmm. There was a reason that you went to New York. Yeah, and I want to clear that up. So what brought you to New York? Because I know you talked about the job at the radio station, which is now the Breakfast Club, but was that I went to New York, found that, or I went to New York for that?
Yeah, so no, I didn't. I went to New York. It was like, okay, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to New York and go get a job. That was just like my thought process. But the thing about it, before I got to New York, I was already applying to jobs in New York. Okay. And
going back to your childhood, you just wanted to be in New York. I just wanted to be in New York. Okay.
Everybody's talking. I hear it all. Oh man, California, LA, New York, right? All these particular places is very dreamy. And that's really what I was just living in through. It was all a dream.
There we go. So we followed it. Okay, cool. How'd you get that job with the radio station?
Yeah, man. So,
and what was that like? What were you doing?
Yeah, that was a job I applied to. I remember before I got to New York, and yeah, man, they. It's the funny part of it. This is the funny part. Also, is that I when I was in college, you remember that's when the BET Hip Hop Awards started. The first BET Hip Hop Awards, I wrote the commercial spot, and I wrote the. Man, I hope you don't kill me for this. I hope, but this is true. I can verify it for my auntie. Yeah, because my auntie worked at BET. Okay, and she helped me get this. She helped me get this gig. I wrote the script, the commercial spot, and I wrote the first 15 seconds of Cat Williams' introduction for the BET Awards.
Sure you did.
I
Sure
did.
you did.
I did.
I'm saying sure you did based off of all of these recent conversations. Cat's coming for you, bro. Cat's coming for you.
I just wanna like, hey,
Oh man.
but I didn't know that's what
you were doing. You were
what
writing.
I was just writing. I didn't know that. And I just watched the awards. I was like, those are my words.
Those are my words. Got you. Okay, cool. Okay.
And so
that's awesome, actually. That's really cool.
But I told that story.
Yeah.
To when I was at the radio station, and of course, the work that I'd done prior, my internships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, that was it was like a no-brainer.
Okay. So how long did you stay in New York? And because I know you've been in New York, you've been in Florida, you've been in the West Coast, you're here in Atlanta. Like, how do we, you've only been on this earth for so long, bro. Right? That's a lot of lives in one human.
Yeah. No, I know, man. I know. I've lived a lot. I was in New York prior to that. Mind you, I was coming to New York like some of my summers for just to intern, right?
Gotcha.
So I was already dabbling in and out of New York. But then when I came and I'm permanently living in New York, I was in New York for about a year and a half, year and a half, and then I flew out to L.A.
Okay.
Moved out to L.A. And I lived in L.A. for about a year and a half. My son was born when I was out there, and then I moved out there though because I had got a job. I got a job and they relocated me out there.
What was that job that brought you?
Yeah, so I worked for this company called Reynolds American. It's tobacco company.
Yeah.
And then
so you were contributing to.
Yeah,
the death of millions.
I was out here. Yeah,
That's
I was moving around. Yes,
crazy work. Okay, cool. Awesome. Got you. So you were the biggest dope boy on the West Coast, essentially.
Yes.
Got you. Okay, cool. I like it. Hey man, I know a lot of people who are engineers. They get that job in North Carolina. Yeah, you working for Winston, bro. You get that tobacco money, bro.
Bro, it was crazy. It was wild. It opened my eyes to so much stuff. But from there, I moved to Atlanta, came to Atlanta, and same company. They relocated me. Came to Atlanta, and then from there, I just started to go on this. I wanted to become I wanted to get into the music industry.
Got it.
I already had been doing a couple of things in the music industry, nothing notable outside of the Cat Williams thing. But
allegedly, Cat, don't come for us, please.
Don't come for me, please.
Actually, at this point of my podcast, please come for me. Like, honestly, I wrote your first two specials. Yeah. Like, come for us.
And so, Atlanta, relocated,
right.
Work, job. And I went on this. I was like, "Hey, you know what? I'm about to get in the music industry. My brother, he raps. I want to make music at the same time. So I wanted to live out. I had this childhood dream to play music and be in the music industry. So I wanted to live out that. I did that for a little bit, and we had a level of success, especially from where we started, right?
Yeah.
But that. In that time period, man, it sent me into this deep, dark place that I didn't recognize who I was.
Okay.
And this time I was doing hydrocodone. I was hooked on that. I was hooked on, I'm smoking weed. I'm smoking five blacks a day. That's Black and Miles for anybody don't know.
Got you. Wood tip or plastic tip?
Plastic tip and wood tip. I'm doing Garcia
Filthy
Vegas.
Filthy work.
Hennessy. You know what I mean? The Tupac Hennessy. This the underground.
You were
and gritty.
A wild boy. Yeah.
Man, I'm doing all this at the same time, and I'm lost, man. I had cut everyone. I had any and everyone that would hold me accountable was all cut off from my life. So I'm isolated.
Yeah. And that's allowing you to continue.
That's allowing me to continue.
Okay.
Right. But that me cutting them off because there was a level of shame.
Yeah.
You know, at the same time, I wasn't working for RJ Reynolds anymore, Reynolds American anymore at this time. Man, I just went from a high to a low, real quick, man.
Gotcha.
Real quick, and I wasn't prepared for the journey that I had set myself on.
Okay.
I just wasn't.
What so obviously, you know, I've known you for some time. I've never known you to be a black and mild smoker. You know, maybe a Cavassier sidecar, but not not the Hennessy VS. What got you out of that dark place?
Man, bro, I was to say that, you know, I wanted to man, it was just one of those. It was like a step by step. You know, it became one thing after another, and I didn't have a standard of living for myself. I didn't have standards for myself.
Got it. Okay.
I got away from I got away from standards. I got away from order.
Yeah.
And that's why order is very important. I got away from like having these boundaries. Like I got away from all those particular things. Everything was up in the air, fly by night. You know, we out here, you know, we on some dark times, dark days type of things. Like even when you would walk into my apartment, it would be daytime, but it felt like it was nighttime inside.
Dark,
you know,
maybe the red lights. You got the
man. Here I am.
For just darkness and to consume a certain behavior.
Because
you feel crazy rolling up. It's bright sunshine. It's like, yo, what you trying to do? You got to create that environment for you. And you said something about it was stages. I think a lot of times when we're trying to make a change in our life, and, you know, as a coach, I often, you know, let's figure out what sustainable habit we can build or either break. We're not changing our diet, changing our fitness routine, changing our sleep schedule all at the same time. I think it's just super important that not that you necessarily speak, but we live in that reality where it's just like, I'm doing all of this. Okay, I might put the blacks down, but I'm still smoking the weed. I might put the Hennessy down, but I'm still smoking the weed. It's baby steps. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yeah, man, it is baby steps. You know, you start to add little things on your plate, and before you know, you look up, you're like, wow, my plate is full.
Yeah.
And now that it has the grips on you, it's from there. You are so encapsulated in your own mess and own delusion that you don't even know that this is a mess.
Yeah.
This is the lowest of the lowest. You at the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah.
You are like, you have totally lost any level of self-respect.
Yeah.
You know, like, get up and take a shower.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think you spoke on isolation. Being ridden of shame is such a dangerous place. I remember, you know, probably the most interesting fact about me is that, like, it was more than a year, less than 2 years. I don't know the time period, but I smoked cigarettes. And like, when people find out, I was just like, bro, what? Like, in like 2020 something? It's like, and I remember, and maybe it wasn't 2020, it might have been like 21 something. What made me stop was that trip that we went on to Facebook for Black Men's Beard. And I remember, which is crazy, the day I stopped smoking cigarettes was the day that Kobe Bryant passed, because that was the day that we flew to California. And I remember before getting in the car to go, I smoked my last cigarette, and I was just like, I'm not going to California with Joe and Brandon and sit in front of all these people and be the guy who's taking the smoke breaks. I was just like, I'm not doing it. Like, it's crazy. Like, one, these are my friends, and they might know I smoke, because, you know, sometimes you'll be like, bro, I smell it on you, but like, I'm not gonna say nothing about it. But I don't know this for sure. But I'm also not bringing that. And that was literally a cold turkey for me, where it was just like, all right, boom, we're done. But without that level of accountability / shame, and shame in a good way, I may be still smoking today. And even think back to that time, I don't know if I was addicted to smoking. I was addicted to the temporary relief smoking cigarettes gave me, because like smoking cigarettes absolutely sucks. It's like good for a solid 5 minutes, and then everything after that's bad. Your breath stink, your stomach hurt, your head hurt. It's not really that good. So those temporary quick hits were good for me, but I don't know if that day didn't happen, would that demon get more and more a hold of me to where I'm at the point, because at that point I was probably smoking like a pack a week, maybe a pack every 4 or 5 days. Like I wasn't like a smoker, but I was still smoking. I look back now, which probably 5 years later, bro, I could be like, oh, give me a second, let me go, or have my little vape right here or something like that. So I just think that good shame and good network, good community, and what we talked about earlier, being surrounded by people who will look at you like, bro, you know you're not supposed to be doing that. Because you're not going to go around people that you know is going to call you out when you're behaving in a certain way. Yeah. So I just think it's super important for us to, build that community. And I actually want to segue a little bit more to manhood. I would like to touch on how you got from, because you are a business owner. You have a business with like employees. That's not necessarily what this podcast is about, but I think that's important. I would like to touch on that and then kind of get into the man phase, that third lap of that track. So if you could, give us a breakdown from Dark in the Doldrums to, Black Men's Beard, EA, so on and so forth.
So this is when I started to get just a tad bit of light in my life.
Okay.
I was moved back from Atlanta to, can't forget about this. This was the crash. I got a DUI. I got a DUI, reckless driving.
Where were you?
I was in Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
Literally, like, so intoxicated that I was on the other side of the divider and trucks were just coming towards my way. Honk, honk. Here I am, like, I'm at the car's on. Yeah. I'm passed out. My sister on the right side of me, she's passed out. It was just totally irresponsible and dangerous.
So I've known this story. This is the first time I knew you weren't by yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a wild boy.
Yeah.
Continue.
So,
and I say wild boy because I also want to give grace. I think we put a lot of judgment on people who get DUIs or get into accidents and things of that nature. I'm no better. I just didn't get caught. So I think that's super important to note because, we all have been wild boys, especially living a life pre-Uber. So continue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that when I got behind those bars, it was like I was like, "Hi, day was guard." I remember being in the cell, and this dude was like, "It's gonna be okay." I'm thinking like, I'm not supposed to be here.
I'm not you, bro.
I'm not
like,
you,
we're
bro.
not
Like,
the same.
we're not the same. Like, I made a big mistake.
Yeah.
But definitely, I'm not. And I'm like, I'm looking through the little window they got.
Yeah.
I see people playing basketball. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna normalize this.
Yeah.
I have to get out of here.
Like, this is crazy.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
I just saw me like, man, I'm gonna be here for how long?
Yeah.
This is gonna be like forever.
Yeah.
I'm like, people reading books. Like, it was like cool. And like, nah, this is not cool. He's like, no, everything gonna be good. You gonna be good. I'm like, are you a motivator speaker? He's doing God he over here doing, trying to motivate me and stuff. I'm like, dude, no, this is not good. I'm telling it, like, this is not good. Anyways, end up getting out, and at that time, man, I ended up had a small stint in Alabama, worked for Verizon for a year.
Yeah.
A great mentor of mine brought me in and really helped me through that process, right? And very stand-up guy. Was very solid brother. Had accountability, order, and that's what I needed in my life at that time. I was getting my confidence back. Went to Verizon, did an amazing job. Finished in, top 3, top 2. And from there, I got that itch again to get in my entrepreneurial bag.
Right.
Moved out to LA, moved out to LA. My son was living in LA, moved out to LA. I wanted to make sure I was around him and things of that nature. Went out to LA, and I remember I had another mentor. He was like, yeah, come out here, because he was into entrepreneurship. He was very successful. And he sent me the address. Mind you, when I lived in LA, it's places I didn't go when I was in LA, right? I was in the safest places when I was in LA. This time, I'm like, we watch movies, so we know street references. And like, is this Florence? Yeah. This Hoover?
Yeah.
And then I had hit him up. I said, hey man, I think I got the wrong address. You remember Baby Boy had the came outside where he lived, and you can see over the banister. Yeah. That's pretty much that's where I live, I was living, just like that. And he came, he walked out, he's like, he waving at me. He's like, no, you here?
You're right, yeah.
I was like, man, I thought I was gonna be somewhere.
Beverly Hills,
Beverly Hills.
Fresh Prince,
I'm Fresh Prince. That's how I felt. But no, I was right there in the hood. Everybody, if you know, on the corner of Florence and Hoover, you know where that is. That's South Central LA. That's you in the thick of things. And I
you wouldn't be wearing that jacket.
No, you're not wearing this jacket. You're not pulling up like that.
Yeah.
But they treated me well, man. Ain't nobody bothered me or anything of that nature, and but I was there like a year, I was under his tutelage. Is it tutelage? Tutelage?
Bro. Yeah, I shouldn't even start it.
Anyways,
because now I feel crazy. So
I was under his mentorship.
There we go. Let's bring it back. Synonyms work.
I was under his mentorship for a year. Definitely was exposed to a lot of things. And the one thing about it I was exposed to was internal fortitude. Okay. Having that grit. He gave me that grit. He gave me that internal fortitude, which that's something that I also needed, Yeah. And I needed that man to push me without my mom or somebody there. Everything gonna be all right, baby. Something. So I don't need that in my part of my life. Yeah. Like, it's a time and place for everything, and this is not the time, and this is not the place. So from that point on, I just had this, I had the itch, entrepreneurship. I had my business. My friend brought a business idea to me. We went into a partnership. That didn't work out as well as we wanted to. Okay. And then so now I'm like sleeping on my cousin's couch, and I need to get a job. Yeah. Right. So in doing that, I got to make sure that I'm looking appropriate, nice, really going into these particular interviews, and I have hair on my face. So now I got to figure out how to take care of my beard. Yeah. Through that process, I went through a trial and error learning how to take care of my beard. Right. And before I know it, people was asking me, man, what are you doing for your beard? Because I guess everybody was like, oh, we all going through the same thing. Yeah. You're trying to figure out how to take care of your beard. It started off with me just helping a couple friends. Then, a couple friends turned into 20 people. 20 people was just turning into like 100 people. And I was like, listen, I don't have the time, capacity to try to just help everybody. That one-on-one, I just don't have it. So I turned to YouTube.
Yeah. And this was a time, just to paint a picture, where guys with beards, and I'll speak specifically for the Black community, we had hair on our face. It wasn't conditioned. It was dry. It was, and I want to paint that picture because it's like, I think a lot of people could be like, what did you have to do? But there was so many people lost, had the long beards with the little stringlies hanging. Nobody was trimming the ends. It was dry because we didn't have the education. Yeah. So just to paint some context, go ahead.
It was crusty and dusty and musty. That's for certain. And so trial and error, got my YouTube channel, got it running, got it up and going. And so from that point on, man, YouTube took off. It took off quicker than what I thought it was going to take off. And I ended up doing a drop. Then from there, I started I was doing product reviews, stuff like that. Started a drop shipping store. At the time, they wasn't called drop shipping, but I started a drop shipping store.
Not the Amazon FBS. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, I did that with different beer companies. So I found these beer companies on Instagram. Like really, nobody really knew. They was very small, and I was like, I called them up. We got a deal together. And I was like, hey, okay, cool. You know what? I'll sell your product. Let's put it on my store. Boom. Everything was going good. And I remember I was at this Shopify event, and I ran into this lady. She was doing manufacturing her products, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So we got a relationship, and I had to learn a little bit more about the manufacturing side. So she kind of showed me a little bit more on that side of things. And then I ended up, I had to get out. Like my cousin was just like,
it's over.
It's over. Like, okay, like you have to like leave. Like she didn't say that.
Of course, yeah.
But you knew when your time is up, your time is up. And I moved back to Atlanta with and I called my now business partner Joe. I was like, "Yo, Joe, hey man, I need a place to stay." He was like, "Hey, big dog, you know, I'm not doing roommates now. You know, that part of the business is shut down." Cool. Called him again the next week.
Yeah, I need a place to
stay. Finally, he gave in. And what turned out to be like a 3-month stint ended up turning into a business partner. Ended up turning into a business. Ended up turning into a multi-million-dollar business. Ended up turning into 10 employees. Ended up turning into from trapping outside of our apartment to building a multi-million-dollar facility and moving into a multi-million-dollar facility and just man. And then from there we haven't looked back since.
Awesome. So Black Men's Beard turned into Evan Alexander once you and Joe linked up, and that's that's the, I guess, the evolution of boy to man. That's that turning that corner. You're now responsible for, through all this, you're now responsible for a son. You're responsible for a business partner in a business partner relationship. Not necessarily responsible, but you guys have responsibilities to one another. And then you're ultimately responsible to physical product, places, and people. Tell me, and that was kind of the brief overview that I wanted to do with Evan Alexander. Tell me a little bit about this transition into manhood, where you are, and some of the things that's helped you with your personal development, and also some of the things that could help a young Brandon, a young Jonathan in that let's say 16 to 25 range, really 14, because that's when you start making that's when you start making the bad decisions or not make the decisions that you should have made. Absolutely. So let's get into that, to manhood. Yeah, man.
And I want to be clear, I'm still 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right.
But for someone 16 to 25, you need community. You need to get around other masculine men. That's very, very important to be around. It provides you so much data about you, about the world, in a way that I don't think you'll get it in any other. And somebody mentioned environment. Right. How, hey, you got into this part of business. Your dad had a camera. You started being around the camera. You was around that environment. And then from that point on, now you're on this trajectory of, around, going, putting yourself in rooms and places that you probably wouldn't have been in had your dad not put you into that environment.
Seeing those things,
knowing it, just picking up those particular things. And so for that, environment is crucial. The other part of it would be accountability, right? You need that level of accountability. You need that discipline, because I think anybody would agree who's listening to the sound of my voice right now is that we want two things: peace, and we want productivity.
As men.
Right. And so those are things that you want. And in order to get those things, you need discipline, you need accountability. And if you're that, that 16, 25, I would say just seek that, search for that, be open to that. And that is going to carry you a long way.
16 to 25, if we're on the latter end of that, I think our generation, we're pretty behind when it comes to a lot of things. We're pretty behind when it comes to serious relationships. We're pretty behind when it comes to, in the economic side of things, like we live in a different world, so I'm not going to get too much into like buying a house and so on and so forth. But when it comes to having children, especially intentionally, now we can have some children at young ages, but intentionally, I think we're pretty behind, specifically in the Black community when it comes to serious long-term relationships, and creating children on purpose. And really what I'm just stating is growing up. We're very behind on growing up because that's all that is. That's responsibility. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, listen, I had this quote that I wrote, or this line that I text to a friend of mine. I said, we aren't transitioning from the sandbox to a land plot. Think about a manufacturing building, a manufacturing building, and inside the building, there's culture.
Right.
There's a conveyor belt. You start off at the beginning of the conveyor belt. There's one component of yourself. The objective is to get across that conveyor belt to the other side, out the door, fully developed, grown adult man.
Yeah.
Full man. That's the objective. What happens is that on our way, we get off the conveyor belt.
Right.
We step outside. Now we're underdeveloped. We haven't gone through the conveyor belt.
Yeah.
We just I'm just gonna take a shortcut.
Okay, I see what you're saying. We're not done with the conveyor belt. We stepped off.
We stepped off the conveyor belt.
Gotcha.
We want to play in the sandbox. We want to stay in the sandbox. We don't want to go out there and go through that maturation and having to build, taking on responsibility, and things of that nature that comes with being a man.
Right.
You know, we are void of void of these particular of wisdom. We're void of understanding. We don't want accountability when it comes to our life. We just want to be out here and fly by the we just want to be out here and do whatever we want to do without nobody, like without no guardrails.
What do you think contributes to us getting off early or not wanting to stay on? It's because it's the same thing, but it could be looked at from different views.
We have a horrible culture. It always start with culture.
Yeah.
You know, and the culture is trash, man. What it produces, we see it everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, the things that we wouldn't accept, we now accept.
Yeah.
The things we wouldn't do,
let's
we now do.
Let's get a little specific in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those things where, for example, children, right? Because of the way the culture is, there is a mix between, or that you don't know the difference between woman and child, man and son.
Yeah.
It's all a mix.
Yeah.
There's no difference. They dress alike, they talk alike, they walk alike, they think alike.
They're into the same thing.
Into the same thing, same music, same
book,
customs.
Same medium.
There isn't. I was just talking to my son's mother the other day. I was like, I don't want to be dressing like my son.
Yeah.
When he sees me, I want him to be like, oh, you know what? That's what I aspire to be.
Yeah.
That's a indicator of the transition to from where I'm at to where
he may be at an age to where daddy's lame, daddy's a square,
and that's
I'm good with that.
Absolutely.
But you understand this difference between, because he's not, if there's more men who are behaving this way, he's not looking at daddies this way. Adult males are this way. Men are this way. And I think that's super important. You know, I see these pictures of dads and sons. The dad will be 40 years old. The sons will be, 9 and 6. They all got the same outfit on. Skinny jeans, ripped, Jordans. And, I'm no fashionista, so I'm not going to be here and be like, there's no time for streetwear and things of that nature. But what I am saying is that can't be your norm. That can't be your a child's attire can't be your uniform, especially when you're raising children. I think the same thing when it comes to the music. I remember there was a time where I'm in the car with my mom. I remember vividly, hey, Mom, do you think we could listen to 99 Jams? Because that was the rap station in Miami. And it was just like, because she was listening to, Tom Joyner Morning Show. And it was like, yo, I'm tired of hearing this old school stuff. And I remember when I was like in elementary school, she was like, no. Then when I got into maybe like middle school, she changed the channel because she understood like this is what I wanted to listen to. But it was a clear difference between what we were listening to, and there was a clear difference between my mom putting it on for me, or my mom or my mom putting me on. Nowadays, hey son, you heard that new Lil Baby? Bro, what? Like, that shouldn't be the case. And I think we're to your point, there's no difference. I can't tell who was who.
Can't. And that's the mixed up. And now that will, for that boy who's looking at his father, he's not understanding that you have to go through this process of development because your father is not exemplifying character. Your father's not exemplifying wisdom, understanding. Your father is not using discernment. Your father is not showing a level of temperance. Your father's not showing prudence. Your father is not operating in a capacity. All those things that is not fun. It's not sexy to do all those particular things. Like those things are not. That's not sexy.
Yeah.
Like no, that stuff is stale. That's lame. That's you old. All those particular things that when you're young you associate with. When I was 19, 20, I wanted to party. Yeah. I didn't have a care in the world. I didn't care. I just cared about what I can do for me.
Yeah.
Me. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm going to manipulate you because it's about me. Mm-hmm. That's childlike, right? Yeah. So me looking at, oh man, I have to be honorable. Yeah. And I don't know about that. Like that means I can't do some fun stuff I won't probably be able to do. And I don't mean you can't still enjoy yourself if you're operating in that space. That's not what that means, because you can still enjoy yourself. But the things that you might find enjoyable are going to be far different than what you did do. So yeah, man, I think that's what is the boy, his development is being arrested because he's not being able to pull from and look at his uncle or his dad or whoever that particular is and say, that's my accountability. That is, I'm a part of a community that is helping me go from point A to get to point Z. Yeah. And that to me is it's part of a healthy community when you have people who have a level of just, they're not emotional. Not to say that you don't have emotions, but you're able to observe your emotion. You're able to think about your emotion. I was telling my friend the other day, I said, think about this. When you're a boy, you're just emotional. Yeah. It's whatever I'm feeling at the time. Like what they used to say. What they used to say about you only live once. YOLO. Yeah. That's emotional. Yeah. What you're saying, right? What you're expressing. Yeah. But the other side of that is, you're right. You only live once, but I'm going to think about
you live every day. You really only die once.
I'm going to operate with prudence. I'm going to be a person of prudence, and I'm going to think and be calculated about everything that I do. I'm not going to do things out of just complete foolishness. Yep. And so when you have these particular qualities about yourself and you're helping people to get to that particular point in life and that development, it definitely lends to a healthier community, and it also lends to a place of where you as an individual is healthy, because when you're dealing with those particular emotions, you can think through those particular emotions and say, and I was talking to you about my friend, right? So I'm telling him, I said, hey, if by the time you get through thinking about like making a decision based off that emotion, you're gonna be like, oh, that's a stupid decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
It don't really mean nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really feeling that way because you're like, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
Is this really serious? Or do I really, what is the feeling like? Why am I feeling this way? Is it me? Why do I feel threatened? Why? You start going through all these particular things, and then you start analyzing it and breaking it down, and you get to a point to you, it's like, you know what?
Yeah, I was in my emotions.
I was in my emotions, man.
In my emotions. So you touched on something, and I'm gonna ask two more questions or two more points. You talked about community, and we've talked about community and lack thereof. I'm seeing this overwhelming in young men, like teenagers, and I'm seeing it. You know, I had to step out. I have a very diverse community that I'm very blessed to have. I have a lot of friends, friends that I consider family. And when I step back out and I realize, even down to like resourcefulness, if I need something, it's like, B can do this, so-and-so can do this, whatever the case may be. And a lot of people don't have that. What are your thoughts on the landscape of community for men and or lack thereof community men, and what does that manifest into? Yeah,
so we were just talking about offline how you have the Cigna, they did a poll where it was like 59% of men are lonely, and that is very troubling, and that is unfortunate, because when you don't have, for us, we have a community, we have a level of accountability. We check in with each other. We let each other know that we're important.
Yeah.
Hey, you're important. Oh man, and vice versa. We are a part of our growth.
Yeah.
We're a part of our family growing, our family tree. We are part of you. We've been a part of each other's successes.
Yeah.
I've seen you go from not having a gym to having your own gym, having your own business. I see you from when you were going from when we were in when you didn't have a house, to now you have a stable home over your head. You know what I mean? We went from where we didn't have fiancés to now we got fiancés. Yeah. Like all this stuff we've been able to experience this together.
That was probably the funniest transition, because that was a journey, man. that was a journey trying to find those young ladies, man.
Right.
And I think even with that, it would have been a lot easier had we had proper community, proper male tutelage. That's the word. That's the word.
I still can't say
it's all good to kind of guide us, because we were out there in these streets just like we were using the wrong tools to try to find what we fishing with dynamite. Like we it was never going to happen. So, with all those blessings, what about the people who are not so privileged? What does that lead them to, and what's the solution out?
Man, I think it's us. It's us. We need to, because we know better. We need to do better.
Gotcha.
I think that I know that's something that has been thrown around, but it's true. We know that there are men out there who are lonely. They don't have that community, and we need to create that community for them. We need to bring them into the community. Like I said, when I was going through my deep, darkest point of my life, it was another man who brought me in, and he really helped me. And and I think that without him being at peace in my life, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Gotcha.
So I think that when we see that happening, we need to grab those particular individuals and pull them as close as we possibly can and speak into their and start to speak into their lives. I think also the time that we live in now, we can create that online content, speaking to them, creating the content, then from there using that as a way to filter them in, so that now we have a community of men who want to connect in a real way. And I think that's probably like the easiest way to do it, because there's so many. It's a lot out there around the world, and I think that they're searching, they're looking, they're grasping, they're getting, when you don't have it, you just gonna get into any old thing,
Absolutely.
because what do you know? You just know what you know. So I understand.
It's gang mentality.
Yeah.
I want to feel the warmth. These brothers are bringing me in, and that's why we have such a polarizing male space on the internet. And I think, to your point, we have a responsibility, and the most efficient way is to replicate ourselves online in a digital space.
And I want to say that, though, I think that there's a danger to that too, right? We these polarizing things, and the men are being attracted to these things that are polarizing. I think it's dangerous, because now what you do is that you have boys trying to bring other boys into a community, and they're trying to act like they're men, and that's why I'm saying we need to have a demarcation. We need to draw a demarcation line.
What is the criteria?
What's the criteria? What's the difference? And you'll know the difference. But if they don't know the difference, because they've never heard what the difference is, because it goes back to what I'm saying. Everything is all mixed in together. So that is the danger part. That's very dangerous when you have a lot of these particular guys who've been able to lure these other, who's taken advantage of, essentially.
And because they're still boys, I want to even unvilify these people, because I don't even think they know. Some of them do, but I do believe some of them are in a position to where they are, I'm older, so I'm a man. You got guys on the internet talking about relationship structures, how you should divide the economics in a house. And it's like, bro, you 30 years old, you ain't never lived with a woman before. What you talking about? And you gonna lead somebody? Now this kid's in high school. Oh, it should be this way because my favorite song, and they sound good. They're telling you what you want to hear. Again, like we talked about offline, you get into that space to where you might get the substances in you. You might have a little glass of something. You might roll up on something, and you just podcast 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and you're just getting mystified by these people. And now you don't have standards. You have directions. It's not, I don't believe this. These aren't my real values. And I think, it's a hustle after a hustle after a hustle. Right. And the hustle didn't even start with a person. It started with the absence of a person. And that created what we have. Like I said, these guys in that 25 to 30-year-old space that's just leading a group of boys that are 14 to 16. These kids are going to be, like they say, this is the future of America. Being led by men who never grew up. So to your point, and I don't necessarily know what those benchmarks are, but we do need some, there was a time to where it's like, if you don't behave this way, you can't come around. And we need a little bit more checks and balances to go from boy to man. Awesome. So I typically, I told you at the beginning that I'm going to ask two questions. I'm going to ask at the beginning and I'm going to ask it now, After we've gone through the journey of Brandon, if I ask you that question, who are you, or who are you again? How would you answer that now with the context that you've able to give to the audience? And again, you can answer that however you like. It's your world, bro.
I've been able to live a life that many have not been able to taste. And I know that. I made decisions, some not the best. Some I got a little lucky. I've been blessed, nonetheless, because I made it this far. With that being said, now that I have acquired the things that I've acquired, and I'm not saying material things, but more so wisdom, understanding, knowledge, I see the void. And I see what has been happening when someone else steps into that void. I see the destruction. I see where people are, the generation, this younger generation, where they're going. And I just can't sit around and see anymore. Because if I'm just seeing the problem, I am part of the problem.
Right.
Because I'm not doing anything about the problem. So now I need to take action and be active in being a part of the solution. I need to take the mantle of manhood, and I need to hoist that up, and I need to carry that.
Yeah.
That's being responsible. That's the being responsible not only for myself and my immediate community, but being responsible and adding value back into the world. And I know that may sound corny to someone, but it's not corny at all because it's all true.
Yeah. And you know the world you want to live in.
And I know the world I want to live in. I have a son, and I'm about to have a daughter, and it's giving me perspective, a lot of perspective.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is that I need to become who I want them to be. And if I don't become who I want them to be, when it comes to character, when it comes to discipline, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to understanding, using wisdom, acting with prudence, if I'm not operating and I do not carry myself in that way, they too will not carry themselves in that way.
Right.
Like you said earlier, when you have a sense of, when you have that shame,
Yeah.
we demonize shame, we vilify shame. There's unhealthy shame, and there's healthy shame. And the healthy shame, we need that.
Yeah.
And that healthy shame is going to keep the checks and balances. It's going to keep you on the straight and narrow.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man. So who I am, man, I'm coming around the mountain.
I like it, bro. Coming around the mountain, man.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we can ask, man. That's all we can ask. Yeah. Well, Brandon, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you as always. You're one of those people that I can call, whether it's to help me paint my gym or, hop on a podcast. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being there for my family. Like you said, it's friendship that turns into family. I just appreciate the light you bring into this world and the light that you bring into my community. My brother, that's a wrap.
Appreciate you, man.
Boom.
Yeah.